channel here or over on Rumble and Odyssey. So this opening image kind of sums it up, why they're doing all this kind of stuff, or why this crowd is participating in it. It says, if I bribe you guys, will you give Thrawn they them pronouns just for fun and to upset the dude bros? That's the real. I think the dude bros is a stand-in for their parents maybe not paying enough attention to them or something. The dude bros don't care. Why would they care? Why would anyone care about a Wookieepedia? This is going to make the chat so outraged. Yeah, they're totally involved in your little subset of nerd culture. Wookie pronouns. Everything these people can do to destroy stability, to invert the normal world, they will do. It's kind of a dark world inversion for them. Everything right side up has got to be inverted. To continue their fomenting their machinations. So first world problems before the war, which is really what it feels like. People are so bored with civilization that they do this kind of stuff. They have no desire, I guess, to create something real. So they focus on these externalities. So they do this stuff with the time machine from the Morlocks and the Inole, however you pronounce it, where everyone is kind of turned into Weena. It's the good times create weak people, and then that cycle just continues, and like, guess where we are right now and what the future holds. Teenagers have always gone through fads. Maybe if you're I guess they don't teach this stuff in schools. Like, oh yeah, the stuff, like if you're a teacher now, I mean, you see who the teachers are now because you see the libs of TikTok, but you go, oh yeah, this stuff you kids are into now, yeah, we're here's the fads from the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. Here's a story called Bernice Got Her Bob. Oh, that has nothing to do with us. Yeah, it's this concept of history. If you don't learn history, you're doomed to repeat it. Oh, well, Bernice got her bob. It's a haircut, right? I think in the 20s, like the flappers or whatever. It's like, yeah, that's a fad. And then here are the fads in the 30s, 40s, and so on. Like, everyone had their little fads. You guys are teenagers, and you're in a fad now. Oh, that's really istophobic of you to say that. We're going to get you fired. And that's the reality of the situation, is it's just that simple. So all the recent stuff is weird because adults are also taking it seriously and taking part in it. So unfortunately, it does not look like it's going to self-correct because there are too many adults who are drinking the Kool-Aid this stuff takes generational brainwashing. It takes generations to destroy a society. Where you've got multiple generations of people with a destabilizing family where they don't have a support structure around them to give them like positive reinforcement to keep them in line on, like, there are people who need more structure than others, and when you leave them kind of unrooted, they'll just fall for anything. They're just a sailboat without a rudder, which is what you're seeing a lot of adults get into now. Like, you're seeing a lot of adults get on board with these kids' fads, or the kids who are on board with this stuff, they're not growing out of they're not growing into adulthood and leaving these kids' fads behind of, the silly piercings and colored hair and stuff. They're just on board with it, and it becomes a lifestyle. I mean, there's a girl who writes for the Mary Sue, oh God, where one of her modifiers is in her little bio thing is she's fat, and that's like a personality trait, is she's obese. Okay, because it puts her, in her mind, and in the cultural Bolsheviks' mind, somewhere on the oppression ladder, because she's fat. And you go, well, that's kind of a self-inflicted thing you're doing to yourself. I mean, from an environmental standpoint, you're taking up a larger carbon footprint. It's weird. It's weird that you would idealize that. It's like, all you have to do is just eat less. You help the environment a little bit, and you probably help yourself. No, I'm fat. Yeah, I know, but it's just calories in, calories out. You made that a personality trait because and it's like they shave their head. And this one I'm talking about, she specifically shaved her head and says she's fat, and I don't know, whatever else she is, writing for the Mary Sue is in itself kind of a disability. But like all these things you're doing, the shaved head and the piercings and the being fat, it's like, it's kind of all working together because you want attention and you're not getting it because you're just, someone who's overweight. It's like, you don't have to make that a lifestyle. It's all this stuff is probably headed for a collapse. I mean, you can't go this far out on the thinnest of ices for civilization and not expect a collapse. Like, OMG, just let people enjoy themselves. Yeah, it's all facets of the same crystal. It's all related. So No, I guess. Anyway, so they do stuff like this. It's this childish belief that it's upsetting the dude bros. Except why would it? Are they focused on? I love Baby Yoda. Oh dear God. You don't know. Please don't love Baby Yoda. Please just stop. Don't love anything from Star Wars. This doesn't upset the Chads. Why would it? Are they focused on Disney? Why would they be focused on Disney? Disney killed Star Wars. It's over. Nothing Disney does to Star Wars matters. You can have Darth Vader sodomizing a Wookiee in a dress. It doesn't matter. We saw the Disney trilogy Abomination. We don't care what you do to it anymore. It's way, way past over. The last chance they had to fix Star Wars was, I think, The Mandalorian. And then they fired Gina Carano, and people were like, I just, F it, screw it. Disney just can't get out of their own way, which is weird because they're a billion-dollar company with a long history. And when they're dedicated to go down this path, okay, you can watch from the sidelines, but you don't have to support them anyway. Disney can't fix Star Wars or even the Marvel universe. Disney can't do anything but make globalist propaganda. You want to give the characters silly pronouns? Fine. The Chads aren't paying attention. You have this weird straw man version of the dude bros who in your straw man universe are also closely paying attention to what these Star Wars people are doing. How does that even fit in your straw man version of the universe where these like I guess football players in your head are focused on Star Wars and they're so focused on it, but then they're also outraged that the pronouns are incorrect? That's a weird universe you've created for yourself. These Chads, they're writing their own stories or they're making their own comics. They're doing something on Comicsgate. I mean, they're creating something artistic themselves as opposed to be getting involved in a fandom for something else. Like, we can multitask, we can do both things. It's like, yeah, but you never do. And really, being a fan of Disney in any shape or form nowadays is really friggin' weird. And because they're validating your present ephemeral cultural Bolshevik identity. It's like, again, it's a fad. Like I said, with Bernice got her bob from the 20s. The fads go every decade. And all it takes is some brutally honest teachers to start talking about this. It's like, well, teachers are controlled by the government, and the government is run by lizard people. So none of that is going to happen. I can't imagine what Disney's going to look like in 10 years. I don't think most of us are going to be paying attention to it. Pronouns are derived, to say the obvious, pronouns are derived from sex. The gendered language is from the sexual binary, so there are only two. The two constants, the start of the binary tree is the XXXY. That's where it starts. And then every variation on the XXXY binary tree is from within the binary itself. That's still the beginning of the logical tree structure, is the XXXY. Every variation flows off of one of those two. They're not creating more than a binary. And people then people shift the argument to go away from the science of it and the nomenclature and the syntax to go and do, well, what does it matter to you? It's like, well, that's you're deflecting away from the argument. Once you shift away from the argument, it's like you've lost the argument because you're shifting. Or they go into an ad hominem. It's always deflection and ad hominem and straw man with these people. The gendered language itself is from the binary, so there are only two. The rest is just cultural Marxism used to destroy a nation, which if you look around pretty clearly, you'll see. Yeah, not everyone is on board with this kind of nonsense. I mean, why would they be? It's just so effing stupid. All this stuff is designed to keep the cattle distracted from focusing on real issues. Again, you crack a history book, it's like, oh, this has been done before. Many times. It's actually pretty brilliant in how effective the sheep can be distracted with bread and circuses. And they label anyone who disagrees with their opinions as bigoted hat speakers. Thus, you're on the wrong side automatically in their structure if you disagree with any aspect of this Frankfurt School nonsense. And more importantly, they're supported by woke social media. Not so much on Twitter as much as it used to be anymore. Twitter's still woke, don't get me wrong. But it's a little different now. The thing is, if you say all this stuff is nonsense, which very clearly is, I mean, to be a kid in school now and to be a base Chad would be probably a lot of fun. You don't have the option to not validate their illusions or you're going to get kicked off social media. And I'm sure most kids in school are just kind of trying to keep their head down and be like, oh, this is so ridiculous, roll the eyes. The thing is, you really can't keep your head down anymore with a lot of this stuff because it's too egregious. It doesn't self-correct. And if everyone's scared to speak up about it, it just keeps on going and going and going. I don't know what to say. I mean, it's like I feel for these kids, and like you can hear I'm on the right in some regards, but with these kids, I look at them and I go, listen, kids, don't do anything permanent. I know you're on the left. I know you probably hate me. I get that. But don't make any changes to your body. You want to dye your hair and get piercings and even tattoos, and maybe you want to explore with your sexuality a little bit. Like if you really feel that way, okay, because you can recover from that kind of stuff. But you can't recover from taking a chemical, and you can't recover from surgery. So, I mean, like you can hear I don't hate you. Like most of the people on the right, we may not express it in the nicest way possible, but we don't hate you. If we hated you, it'd be like, oh yeah, by all means, undergo, take the drug, take the chemicals, and take the surgery. By all means. We're telling you not to do that because you might hit 25 and hear that biological clock. You might hit 35. Shit, you might hit 40 and decide, oh, you're 38. I don't know. I've known a few women who had kids later in life. You might hit those things and decide, oh, that biological clock is really ticking, and decide to have kids. I guarantee, like, I'm 15, I never want to have kids. Yeah, but when you're 25, you might change your mind. I'm 25, I'm never going to have kids. Okay, again, if you're female, the biological clock hasn't quite hit it yet. By 27, by 28, you're going to hear this. You're going to feel this weird desire, like, I'm going to need the boyfriend to start raw dogging in me because it's time to start squeezing out some kids. Because, and like, don't do anything that takes away your options because you've been brainwashed from this external source. Anyway, there's this pendulum is swinging. But there are white pills on the horizon, and the pendulum is swinging back the other direction. But there's all these kids and young adults who are caught in between this time period, who they're going to undergo these permanent decisions. And then a couple of years from now, they're going to look back and like, holy cow, our parents let us down. The doctors let us down. The doctors should be tried for war crimes. The cultural Marxist teachers who are pushing this stuff let us down, and then the globalist media let us down. It's like, well, yeah, they're doing this stuff on purpose. I mean, it's mainly your parents should have been the intercession to stop all this kind of stuff, but like they just didn't know what they didn't know, I guess. I mean, the whole thing is like to see, like, there's going to be a collection of these tens of thousands of kids who in 10 years are going to look back when this stuff is all going to be over in 10 years. You're not going to be doing this stuff at the same numbers that you're doing it now in 10 years. I guarantee you that. It's like you just want to hold on to your body parts long enough so you can pass this little bizarre window where you're not involved. You want to get a tattoo? Okay, fine. Pierce your nose? Okay, I guess. It seems all that stuff just seems dumb to me too. Whatever, but you don't want to take a hormone. You don't want to cut anything off. Left or right? The right isn't doing this. It's the left doing this. But you really want to not do that to yourself. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys. Thanks for everyone on the Subscribe Star Vegan and Ireland and everyone else. Very sincere thank you for all that. And I will see you guys on the next episode.